This is my Thunderbird 900. It's a 96 model in cherry red cream. I've done quite a lot of changes to this bike, both cosmetic and functional. So the functional are both handling and engine. So let's start with some of them. First of all, I changed the ergonomics of the bike by putting shorter dog bones here to raise the rear of the bike a little bit, about 30-35 millimeters. I also dropped the forks only about 6 millimeter, so the rear is raised and the front is dropped. That makes it a little bit more aggressive, easier to fall into turns. I also put Matris fully adjustable cartridge kit in the forks, so it has preload, rebound and compression adjustment, as compared to stock ones that doesn't have any adjustment at all. In the rear I put a Hagon. You can probably not see it from here. It's a Hagon rear shock. It's good for the price that it costs. It's not really super good. It's not great. I think the main disadvantage is that I have the rebound and compression adjustment on the same screw, so you cannot adjust them individually. I've also put on some Tarozzi rear sets. Basically made brackets that are similar to the Thunderbird Sport, and I mounted these Tarozzi rear sets. A custom linker arm there. Also, because I raised the rear, I fitted a late Thunderbird Sport side stand. Otherwise the bike would lean over too much. Besides the suspension ergonomics, I've also upgraded the front brake. So this is a 3-piston caliper from a Honda, also Nissin, like the originals. Floating disc from EBC, braided lines, and also I put on a larger master cylinder here. This is actually a Nissin master cylinder from one of my other bikes, a Buell, and it looks identical to the original one. It's just a little bit bigger, so it's better for a bigger caliper, and it works great. So when we are up here, I can show you, I put also speed triple handlebars or replicas from Sprint Manufacturing. So a little bit flatter than original, well, quite a lot flatter actually. But to reach the suspension adjusters, I had to put on a universal racer here. So it not only raises the handlebar up, it also moves them a little bit forward. Well, you can also get it backwards if you want. These Avon grips, they're thick and very comfortable and nice. And adjustable levers for the front brake and the clutch, very important for, you know, the length of your fingers. These are some stainless side mirrors. They're actually Chinese, but I had them for years without any rust, any problems. Very nice, and they were like 25 euros or something. Talking about Chinese, also this fly screen, sorry, it's also Chinese made plastic. Also was about 20-25 euros, and I just painted it myself with jerry cans to the correct color, and also put stainless screws on it, and it fits very nicely. I had to cut the bracket a little bit to fit the clocks, but otherwise it's good. When we talk about these you know, plastic parts, I swapped the front and the rear mudguard for fiberglass ones, so much smaller and lighter. They're also painted in the correct color, so it's more just get a little bit sportier look of the bike. And the indicators are polished aluminium, also LED ones that I found on eBay, very nice, from UK. The mud guards back and front are from a guy in UK called Steve Turner. I'm not sure if he's in business anymore because his website is down, but he made very nice parts for Thunderbird and Bonneville, I believe. What else? Yes, the seat. It's from a Legend, but I didn't like the end. It was going up like this, so I basically took off the seat cover. I grinded it down, make it smooth, and then put the seat cover back on, so it has a little bit more nice flow to the end here. Let's see, now we can go into the engine modifications maybe, or the extra performance modification. So I put a high compression pistons inside, or it was called short stroke pistons, right? They're from the 750 models and the Super 3. Give the engine a little bit more compression. And then I put in the green cams, which are from the other T300 models. A little bit more upper, a little bit more upper power. The original blue cams, they're good, but they're more like, torque, and they fall off quite quickly. So hotter cams, more compression. Then I put the Ignitec igniter inside, so I could program it, give it more higher RPM range, and also adjust the advance. And we did that on a dyno to get it optimal. Besides that, I put on a 3-in-1 exhaust system, and this is from a T709, so that's a 885 injected Tiger, and it ends about here, so I had to go to an exhaust shop, and they made me a stainless pipe that connects to the muffler. The muffler is a Vance & Hines from a Thruxton R, and it's the US version, maybe possibly also UK, but not the EU version. So it has a removable baffle, which of course I removed because it was actually strangling quite a lot of power. So it's straight through now. I also swapped the carburetors, the original CV, for these FCR39 Keithin flat slides, which gives a very nice throttle response and more power. And here the airbox looks intact. These are from the outer guards here from a sport model, but inside is actually cut open completely. I don't know if you can see it here, and there's a K&N filter inside there, so you can easily take it off and clean it and re-oil it. What else? I guess the last part is this one, the radiator guard, and that we had made a few years ago in 3 batches. So it's stainless steel, just for this model, for the Thunderbird Adventure Legend Thunderbird Sport models. And the logo was originally designed by Christian Forward, UK. Yeah, so the rear sets, one thing that I had to do, I made the bracket, but I also had to make a bracket for the rear brake master cylinder to move it, because otherwise it didn't work with these Tarozzi rear sets. It's a universal rear sets, but very nice quality, and flippable here, so if you hit the ground it flips up, it doesn't get stuck. Well, some gimmicks like this oil temp meter, not really useful, just cool. And then this one actually is quite useful. I put in a video temp meter and also a sender unit, the correct sender unit to the meter down here, so I can keep a eye on the actual coolant temperature. And it's quite nice. It's about 8 degrees higher temperature down here on the engine head compared to up in the thermostat housing. So I know what temperature this says when the thermostat opens, and I also know what temperature this says when the fan goes on, and it's pretty much spot on 8 degrees off both of them to the settings. Yeah, I think, no, one last thing. So when I fitted this exhaust system, first I had one from a T509, a speed triple, injected speed triple. It's almost identical to this exhaust, except it doesn't have this crossover pipe here. And what I noticed when I put in high compression pistons and hotter cams is that I had a lot of exhaust reversion, which caused torque dips. And after a lot of research, I found this could be one of the solutions. So I swapped that exhaust to this one, and it did the trick completely. These torque dips were completely eliminated by just this silly little crossover here. But one thing you have to do with both of these exhaust headers is that you have to move the water pipe, the coolant pipe. So instead I fitted this silicone and rubber hoses here and got rid of the original completely, except this little part here, which I cut off, and I welded like a little ring to it so it will stay in place. I think that's it. Take a little look around the bike. It's a little bit dirty now because, you know, it's not a garage queen, it's a bike to ride. Take it to the mountains, twist this all the time, took it to the track once, and I will take it again to the track. And the dyno puts out almost 100 horsepower now on the rear wheel with all these modifications, and it's not a sport bike, but it's a beautiful, classic looking, very comfortable and nice performing bike, so that's why I like it.